But 14 years later and 3 weeks post-merger, was it all worth it?
Of course, man.
Of course.
Of course.
Even in the times where Cameron a year ago was like, oh, freak, I don't know.
You speak to anyone, whether they're on their deathbed or someone that just had an exit, or even if they're 18 years old, if they're intelligent enough to really reflect, they're going to talk about those hard times where they were pushed the most.
Yeah.
And whether it's hard or whatever, like everything's happening for a reason.
Welcome to the Premium Mindset, the weekly podcast where homegrown entrepreneurs and business owners Evan Ritchey and Cameron Bawden share the good, the bad, and the ugly of modern entrepreneurship and reveal what really happens behind the scenes of their personal and professional lives. As owners of two of America's fastest growing and most disruptive companies, Coconut Cleaning and Green Mango Pest Control. Stay tuned for real stories, struggles, insight, and advice from real entrepreneurs in real time.
All right, what's going on, everyone? Today we are talking about a few things going on here under the Hype Farm umbrella, specifically now 3 weeks post-merger with PestCo. We're also going to talk about what Cameron's been up to with his certain investments, as far as him getting his payout, as well as what he's done with his family since. So stick around, we have a lot to talk about. So today, on this beautiful episode, on the Premium Mindset, we are going to do one of two things. We're now, 1 month post-merger with PestCo?
No, like 3 weeks.
3 weeks, okay. So 3 weeks.
Not a month, 3 weeks, man. I'm just kidding.
But I feel like it's almost like 3 weeks to a month. And we're also going to be answering a few of the questions that, one, we've continually got about the merger, but also just some little shoot fire questions that we've got that we feel like could help some people out. Because I know I've learned a lot in the process of this merger with PestCo. So we're 3 weeks from it. How are you feeling now?
How am I feeling?
Yeah.
Like it's weird. You have this pressure from owning a company and running it, and then as soon as the deal's done, that pressure is lifted off, and then there's a new pressure of what to do with the money once you have it. And I was thinking today, I'm like, when we sell Coconut, or if we sell, I'm going to leave that up to you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be such a blessing to Evan because I'm going through this crap right now. Like, this guy has just piggybacked off what I'm doing. And if he listens, great. And I'm not saying I'm making all the right decisions, but the amount of meetings I've had with financial advisors and just successful people over the past 3 weeks since the exit is, I feel like I'm learning a new business, and it's just a whole new world for me. And it's exciting and fun, but also like really stressful because you now have this money, you don't want to lose it, but you also want to get, a good return on it. And then there's all the tax write-off stuff that's happening, and understanding that and what's smart to buy, what's not to buy. And so it's just a different, I thought I'd not have any time. My days are busier than they've ever been. It's crazy.
Oh, wow. Okay. I have a few questions from that, like just from me.
Yeah.
First, what are your own misconceptions that you had about that kind of money and some things that you found out? Because in my mind, I'm like, that just sits in your bank account and you can put some in the market, but it's not that, even with what little I've heard, it's not that easy. So what are some things that that have been new for you to learn in the process?
Man.
Oh boy. What weird stuff have you been asked by like people? Like, is it what everyone says?
I think what's hard is everyone has the best horse, right? I think back of when I was pitching Green Mango for like growth and everything that we're doing with other states. No, like 4 years ago when we wanted to open up a bunch of different states and go crazy, I was raising money. And I just think about how I would have looked at that from a risk standpoint now. And it was risky even with our track record in Green Mango, Arizona. And a lot of people told me no. And obviously we got the money to do it and we did it. But it's just interesting to now look at it at a different lens. I think the thing that's most interesting is that when you're broke, you hear of a good idea and you're like, man, I'd throw $1 million at that. Like, that's a no-brainer. Yeah. And then when you can, you sit back and you think, no, I'm not doing that. And that's what's been so interesting. And again, you can't go get advice from someone that runs a company at $2 million or $5 million. And not like you can't, learn anything from them, but it's like, okay, so like the people that are giving advice have never sold some people that have given me advice. I think they're intelligent, very intelligent.
Right.
But I'm just telling you, like, once you have that money and you look at deals differently, again, when you're broke, every deal you look at is, I would do that. That's a no-brainer. But then when it really comes down to it, it's really hard to decide.
Right.
And it's been really, I'd use the word frustrating because everyone sounds like they have a secure investment. And, finally I had to reach out to a buddy. I won't name drop him, but someone that I felt like didn't have a product to pitch, was just a very smart financial advisor for someone very close to me. And I reached out to him 3 days ago and I just said, hey, can I pay you? I hope it's not an invested interest here for what you're doing. Can I pay you on the side just to look at these 4 different options that I have going on? And whatever you decide, man, I'm doing it because I'm sick of, doing this because I'm not smart enough to know what's best. And so he did that for me. And it was crazy how quickly he could hear an investment or a pitch and just say, nope. And nothing bad about that person. Just, nope, you told me your goals, what your goals are. That's not a good idea. Don't do that. Here's this, do this. There you go. And so I'm just blindly following him right now. And hopefully it's the right decision. But that's by the time you sell coconut in the next 20 years. Kidding. 3 years, right?
3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
Really? Are you saying that?
Yeah.
3 years.
3 to 5 years.
There it is.
3 years. I talked to the management team today. I just said, like, get on board or get off, but like, we're going to create some goals in the next 3-4 weeks.
So in 3 years, my plan would have either like worked out perfectly or I won't have any money. And then you can either do what I did or not do what I did and you'll be good.
Okay. I'll know enough by then.
Yeah.
But so elaborate a little bit. Cause again, when you get a payout, there's so many different type of mergers, right? Where they say, hey, we're going to roll most of your money into a potential sell or another roll up later, a few years down the road. So when you're getting, a serious amount of money, whatever the split was for you to take and also you to roll up, the natural thought process, the natural man is like, so that just goes into your bank account. Have you found out about the financial? I've looked this up in the last week or two, because even like with nothing I have, when I got like a little deposit, some people, like some bankers reached out and I'm like, what the heck is this? And I can't even imagine for you. So your money hits your bank account. You're like refreshing your app. What was that process like? Just like refreshing your app and just looking at it and just saying like, what the heck? Did it feel real yet?
No, it never, like nothing felt real. And I didn't, so my money's with Goldman Sachs. And so it hits into a holding co account. And from there, then you disperse it to whatever you're going to do.
Gotcha.
But my money's still like right now, 3 weeks in, sitting in this holding account. It's a money market account. So I'm still making
make sure it's there. Okay.
I've checked it twice.
Wait, really?
Yeah. I don't. So it's been sitting there, makes 5%, like 4.86, whatever, because it's just a money market account. And this morning, I finally gave the green light of like
what
how I want to execute
a couple
it.
Days ago.
Yeah. And so now they'll disperse it to the different accounts that I've set up for what I'm wanting to do. But yeah.
Okay. A question I was asked is Cameron starting a little family office, taking potential or waiting to hear some potential investments in small businesses. Like what can you tell the public on some of the things you look forward to doing with that money?
So a big part of my strategy is just wealth preservation. If I can make between 8 and 12% on my money, I'm happy. Like it's plenty to live on from just the interest. And then I want to play with, I have a dollar amount that I have in mind that I just want to set aside. It'll still be in, an asset that is, making that 8 to 12%, but it's liquid at any time. And I want to look for opportunities to invest in real estate or other companies or whatever it might be. There's a market for flipping helicopters. And I almost bought another helicopter last week, but I decided not to, because one of the best advices that I've gotten so far is from a lot of wealthy people that have been through exits is don't make any decisions for a year. Just sit on the sidelines and hear everyone's pitch, and the offers will get better and better, and you'll get more and more educated in what you're doing. And, but try and hold off into any major investments. And, I thought I could make 500 grand on that helicopter in 6 months, but I held off because of that advice of, hey, these guys I've heard it more than one time from someone. And again, we preach here getting, a mentor, being around people that are in the places that you want to be. That's what I'm trying to do. That's the game I'm playing. I spent 45 minutes with a guy today who, again, was I met him through John Jay, amazing guy. John Jay, John Jay Van Ness, met him. He introduced me. He's into the dunes. I met him at the dunes. I drove with him a few times. Really successful guy.
This like the last 2 weeks?
What?
You doing this?
Oh, I haven't been I'm saying like in the past couple of years, I've gone to the dunes with this guy. And we've just been friends, and I know he's been super successful. So I just called him and said, hey man, help me out. What's this world? And he spent 45 minutes. I had to cut him off this morning. He's just like, hey, do this, do that. Here's my suggestion. Here's this. And it's just like business, man. It's crazy. But I look at it as a new business. And how am I treating this business? I got to learn and be around people that have, walked the path that I want to walk.
Has anyone come out of the woodworks? Any distant second, twice removed cousins say, hey, Cameron, like, just wanted to catch up. Any weird stories of people, I don't know, reaching out saying, hey, man, like, nothing yet?
Not too much. I mean, I've had like different people like we've talked about, text me and just say, hey, congratulations, which I appreciate, but also
like, where have you been?
Man, all right, but thank you.
Interesting. Well, because you asked, a little update on like the PestCo merger and because you said your pressure was alleviated. I took that on.
I just had to tell the story. You're like, I can't start the podcast till 1:30 because I'm in an HR training about, what was it about?
Emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence.
But they watched this, so it was great. It was phenomenal. But that was very new to me because they said, hey, HR is doing this video for everyone to watch. And,
who had to be there?
So like they send out a few of the available times that they're going to do that video, but you have to pick one of the times to be on it.
But all management.
Yeah. But across the board through PestCo. So I'm seeing all the emails of other companies they've merged with, and like, here's what I will say, just because I know that they watch this, is PestCo's legit. I like the leadership. The CEO came down for maybe a
3
day.
hours.
Yeah, but he, his home wasn't directly in the crosshairs of the hurricane that just rolled through Florida, but
he thought it was going to be though, right?
It was. He got some serious winds, and he said, "Hey, look, like it's just crazy around there, so I'm going to head back." But they're coming back again. But from the perspective of sticking around in the day-to-day, PestCo's one, I will say that they've been floored with how dialed in we are. Mm-hmm. That was cool to see. The CEO started talking about bandwidth. And I like pretty much cut him off, and I'm like, yeah, I am aware of this stuff. And he's like, really? Like no one knows bandwidth. And I started asking a few people outside of Height Farm and like business owners. I'm like, how aware are you of like your company's bandwidth? And maybe initially they didn't know what I was asking. Maybe they're like, oh, like our threshold for labor. I'm like, sure. But not a lot of people do have everything as dialed in as we've put some attention to. So As far as like the company goes and anyone in fear of selling, no one quit under Green Mango because of the merger, and that was cool.
Yeah.
We've had a few organic quits just because, like, hey, I've been interviewing elsewhere, or I got this promotion, whatever. But
Yeah, that would have naturally happened anyways.
right, and if you are in maybe you think you could sell, I will say that because of the management structure here and all the variables that go into just keeping people happy, PestCo did such a good job with the transition and saying, hey, look, like, you guys have already done a really good job. We have a few ideas that could help Green Mango grow. But as far as
what have been some of their ideas so far that you liked?
Just kidding. They are very, very dialed in for routing. I will say that.
Yeah.
They have some ideas for routing. Even as tight as Green Mango routes are, they have some operational ideas for who goes to what job. So if I could just share that, Green Mango, Cameron has had a setup where who comes to your house for the first time is a very trained, almost leadership technician. So performing the initial. And I think right now we only have about 15 out of our 80 techs or 65 techs that can go to initials. And for the first week, they explained the rationalization in getting everyone initial trained and a little kind of brief on what that would do for routing. And it's crazy.
Really?
Yeah. Just by making everyone initial certified almost. So that was a good idea. And I was surprised. I would kind of joke with them. I'm like, okay, what departments do you guys want gone? Like, where do you want to downsize? And I'm like, we don't want to downsize. Like, we're good. But they are everything that you went through from a due diligence process during the quality of earnings, they're doubling down on it. And they're rechecking areas and management and what does this manager do all day? What do these departments do all day? And so that's been fun.
That's been fun.
It's been cool to see. And here's what I will say from a coconut perspective, because I know it's premiums in green. I don't know if we can get a light that changes blue every so often, but I will say that their attention to detail and their specificity on certain things is cool. Yeah. Like they're diehard they're diehard on routing and service time.
Yeah.
They're very religious about that. They're very malleable with what product you use, management structures. They like our rule of 7. They said we've kind of never had it as a rule, but we're like no one more than 12 people. Maybe we can check on what it would mean for someone to have 7. But overall, I will say in the last 3 weeks, just as like a broad follow-up, that employees are happy. PestCo leadership has done a great job with the transition. If anything, the employees get a few more in benefits as far as paid vacation days. And so as far as the pros of a transition, and I can't speak for every company, but PestCo did a phenomenal job, and so good that no one said, hey, well, I'm leaving. Everyone's sticking around and everyone's super happy. So Cameron's now happy and retired, and that's super cool. Can I just say the funny story that we've had a specific meeting every Tuesday at 10 a.m.
Stop it.
For the last 2 years straight, never missing.
I've been doing that for 15 years.
Never missing, okay? You call me at 10:30, and you're just like, hey, man, what's up? I'm like, hey, dude, I stepped out of the meeting. What's going on? And you're like, isn't that meeting at like 9:30? I'm like, oh, boy, the pina coladas and beachside visits and helicopter highs are getting to your head. But
dang, you're the only one at a beach
lately. Yeah, that's true. But hey, actually, we could talk about that too, Lexi, someday. I know that Cameron wouldn't want to be here, but
He's such a...
I thought it was super cool that PestCo did a really good job now 3 weeks post merger, and it's been cool to see you kind of doing your thing with like, hey, what's the next chapter? And I don't know, have you like worked with PestCo at all as far as like your first quarterly meeting with them and all the other owners? Like, how does that work?
I don't know, man.
Oh, really? Like,
that's I mean,
cool.
We've been in talk, but like a lot of it's just been on, everyday systems and processes of stuff.
Cool. Yeah. So PestCo did a phenomenal job with the merger, and people are happy. And I'd say from out of 10, as far as what was I expecting, probably a 5. I thought they were going to come in and be like, what's this? Let's change this. Let's move this.
You really thought that?
Not like that demeanor, but I thought
they were going to change a lot.
I was almost guarded up, where I was just like, okay, let's cut to the chase. Like, who you wanting to fire? Like, departments.
Yeah.
Like, we've told you everything. Like, we have ideas about certain areas of growth, and probably for a good 2-3 days, I just kept saying like, all right, what are you really getting at with this? They're like, nothing. I'm okay. Mm-hmm. So if you are in pest control, PestCo is always looking for potential companies to merge with. And they did a phenomenal job. The key leadership that's been here 4, 5, 6 years are all happy with them. And for the most part, employees, whether they're not overly ecstatic, they're neutral. And if anything, it's business as usual. So I thought I'd report back to you on that.
Nice plug, man.
On camera there too. I also want that kickback if they buy any pest control company from this podcast. So on top of like retired life.
I know you care so much.
When I saw that, I was impressed, because obviously people go, but in my head, you don't go because it's sold out. So you retire 3 weeks ago.
Not retired.
Just kidding. Hey. And I see you take Ivory on a Taylor Swift birthday expedition. Was that like last second, or was that planned out?
Dude, that Taylor Swift, man, that movement is unbelievable. Oh, are you a T-Swiftie?
I'm neutral.
I should have wore my bracelet today. I didn't know we were going to be talking about it, man. But no, for real, like, it wasn't spare the moment. Listen, Ivory's wanted to do that for the past couple months. She's been talking about it, and Liz was talking to me about going. It was in Florida. But
on her birthday.
The tickets for this thing, it was like 2 days after. The tickets for Taylor Swift for okay seats are $5-6 grand a ticket.
5-6.
It's crazy, bro. Someone on the floor paid $80 grand. $80,000 to see Taylor Swift. So I told Liz, I said, I'll fly to Florida. I don't care about it that much. Let's, you two go. I'll be there at the hotel. I
you were all into it.
She got me a ticket, and we go, and she's like, wait till you see, what's about to happen. And we're walking up to the football stadium, and there's locals there that have like, we've never seen a crowd like this. Never. We have season tickets to the football game. We never seen it like this. Everyone's dressed up, bro. And like, it's like a costume party, bro. People wearing white dresses to, a lot going on at the moment or whatever. Sure. It's
is that like an album name?
She has a brand, man. It's unbelievable. The following that they have. Little girls make bracelets, and then they like exchange them at the concert. So you'll be walking next to someone, and you'll see little girls, or, old women trading bracelets. Yeah, we did it. So that day we did bracelets. I had my 4 bracelets. I was looking fresh, and we're going to the stadium. Anyways, we sit down, and of course I've heard Taylor Swift songs from Ivory quite a bit, but for the first hour and a half, bro, like I knew every single song. I was just feeling it, man. She was hitting some bangers. But here's the thing. I was watching YouTube for 2 hours that morning about Taylor Swift because I was trying to get ingrained of who she is and what she does. She caused an earthquake once from from her concert. Like a 2.3 scale earthquake from people screaming and pounding and jumping.
At a concert.
Bro, I get there and she starts playing, what's the snake song? She wears the snake outfit. Ready for it. she starts playing Ready for It, bro. This place blew up like I've never seen. Little girls, old women, guys, the concession guys standing next to me, and we're just sitting there. I have a video of him because he was just like, I've never seen this before, bro. And like, it was the sickest concert I've been to, man. Besides Imagine Dragons, that was pretty cool. But the fan base, the culture, like the movement that she has. And then it was raining, and it was cool because it was like an indoor stadium. So we were all covered, but the middle of like the field, essentially where she's performing, it's raining. And so
like on her.
Yes. So she's out there.
It just looks magical.
So it was like a huge respect because she didn't skip a beat. It would be like if something happened in business and you're just like, all right, let's go. Let's start doing this. She's up there dancing, dude. The rain's coming down. It looks sick on the screen. I became a Swiftie, man.
Oh boy, I love it.
I'm just kidding. No, but it was cool. Irie loved it. She was dancing the whole time. And
how was the parking? I as someone who don't like parking.
Well, the venue was 14 miles away from our hotel.
Okay.
It took 2 hours to get there.
Oh my!
20 minutes to get home because we did leave a little early because Irie was getting tired. And I guess she played like some newer songs.
Does someone like Taylor Swift have someone open for her, or does it?
Yeah,
It's just
there's
Taylor?
an opener.
Okay. Well, that's got to be someone big too, right?
Yeah, I didn't know her, but I think she was.
Okay.
She's saying yes. I don't know.
He's like Lana Del Rey. Like, I don't know her.
It's like Michael Jordan or something up there. I don't know.
Michael Jordan? Michael Jackson? Okay. So it's synonymous with what you're doing. And I don't want to even phrase this in a way that like, oh, hey, now you're spending time with your family. Because you've always been, something I've always respected about you is that you respect business enough to know that there are seasons and there are, peaks and troughs of busy time and maybe times where it's not enough. And so I will say, I'll preface before I say this, that like you've always been about squeezing your family in and being with your family. But how has it been being relieved of like CEO responsibilities, day-to-day responsibilities? And what has like the family dynamic been with like just waking up in the morning and like, are you taking the kids to school, picking them up, visiting them at school? Or like, how have the dynamics been since the transition away from CEO of Great Mango and now just like dad?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing for me, I'm a creature of habit. So my morning routine has stayed the same. Like I don't mess up, man.
There we go. Okay.
I don't mess up. But I have been working from home more. And so they get home at 11:30 because they're at a homeschool program. And so sometimes we'll play a little bit between then, but they have their schedule too. And
they're like that, I'm busy.
So like last night I went to 2 hours of dancing and ballroom with Ivory, which I've never done before. And that was a lot. But I mean, I'm just being able, like I went and picked up banks. So I'm able to go to a couple more like their private lessons and stuff, but I have to be busy, man. I have to stay busy. And so I've tried to stay busy through most of the day, but I have more opportunities to just kind of like peel away and know that if I don't have my phone on me, like it's all good.
So my last question for you that I think I know the answer because it's one of those where I know how you'll respond. But 14 years later and 3 weeks post-merger, was it all worth it?
Of course, man.
Of course.
Of course.
Even in the times where Cameron a year ago was like, oh, freak, I don't know. And then a year before that, I don't know. Who watches this podcast are people that are in the moments where you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So what's your words of advice to them? Maybe they don't have a huge exit, in their future, but there could be something. But what's your words of advice to the people that may be in that trough right now of, I don't know if this is worth it?
It's a great question. I think that you speak to anyone, whether they're on their deathbed or someone that just had an exit, or even if they're, 18 years old, if they're intelligent enough to really reflect, they're going to talk about those hard times where they were pushed the most. Yeah. And I don't know if anyone that has had regrets, and it's no different for me. Even, we talked about last year, it was a hard year. Yeah. Like there was those times where it was just, man, this is too much. Yeah. It's too much. And, but now that I'm looking back, I don't want to say they're the most enjoyable, but that's where you and I probably got closer than we've ever have, where we doubled down on our business, on the people, on systems and processes. And, I love it. And so when I look back at 14 years, would I want to do it again? Absolutely not. But it's made me who I am today. And I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. And, whether it's hard or whatever, like everything's happening for a reason. And I truly believe that. So if you're in the moment of this sucks, just know at some point, whether it's in a year from now or 5 years from now, you're going to look back and you'll probably enjoy this moment the most, because if you're in the sucky time, this is when you're going to grow the most. And when you grow, it's preparing you for something in the future.
Love it.
Is that how you thought I was going to respond?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I knew you would say, of course. But in here, and this is, it could all be over, but like, it's been since the merger that what makes me most excited about Coconut is the selling idea.
Yeah.
This has made it more real for me, seeing you go through it, and especially like the things that were such headaches for you. As simple as, are we the admin on all of our softwares?
Yeah.
So I told like certain people that were admin, like, hey, make me admin on the software. Make sure that we have all of our passwords for everything. Make sure that our Facebooks aren't linked to weird people, someone else. Like all those little things like I've started to do. But I will say this, that the prospect of getting the business ready to sell 3 to 5 years down the road excites me more now than ever, because of like watching you go through this and the catalyst it seemed to be to propel you into that next like phase of doing everything.